Okay, type tool. Let's talk about it. So I'm going to deactivate all these other layers. Let's talk about type. Type. So there's a T over here. Okay, you can actually press T on the keyboard. Letter T. This guy right over here. Letter T, right? Type in T, and you have to click. Hit T, then click. T, click. Well, I can't do it. Press T, then hit click. Now you'll notice over here on the right side, it actually created a layer for me. So now I can type in T equals type. Now yours probably didn't do that. So if I hit Control A, see it has a different function now. Control A is actually selecting this stuff that's in the text. I can come over here and change the font. So let's go over to this default Arial right here. Default Arial. Now it also, I was using different cases. So notice I did not, just so you know, you would know this. I did not hold shift down and press T equals type. I didn't do that. Photoshop's dope, and I don't know why Microsoft Word and other applications haven't come to this place yet. But I was working earlier in the day, and I had this situation. I was just typing, and I needed all of the letters to be capital no matter what. And sometimes you need an override in your brain to do it, and we have this button that does it for you. So this button over here is saying, hey, all the letters are going to be capital. So that's pretty awesome. I love it. So how do you access this little character window? So you can do window, character, and then it'll pop out. Okay. You can change the pixel, the point size. Typically, just so you're aware, most Word documents are done in 12 point. So this just gives you an understanding of how large this canvas actually is. For that text to be that tiny, that means this canvas is massive. So I have to go ahead, if I'm going to move this so you guys can see where I'm at, I've got to clear like 200. Yeah, see? So just to give you an idea of how large this canvas is, freaking huge, right? So let that be a lesson to you. By the way, you shouldn't get in the habit of scaling your type. Don't scale your numbers. Use pixel points. Use the tool. So if I double click this and I want to change the size of this type, use the point size. That's where your habit should be, is using the point size. Okay, it used to be years ago that when you would scale it, it actually didn't affect the point size. So now if I hit Control T, new command by the way, I can click and drag this. We'll come back to that in a little while. See, it does change the point size for me. It didn't used to do that. But I would get in the habit. Why? Because if you go work for somebody as a user interface artist, and you have to set design up for another team, they have corporations have standards, and they say we don't use anything past 12 points. We don't use anything past 72 points. Like there's standard documents for graphics design and branding that you have to abide by. So it would be the best thing for you to do is just get in the habit early of always changing your point size by hand rather than doing it through scale. Okay, what else can you do? So you can still, I'm going to go ahead and delete my old layer of my 12 point size, and I'm going to take this layer, I'm going to actually hit Control J. We haven't really talked about Control J. Control J is duplicating the layer. So I'm going to type in hello world, except I know I pressed L twice and apparently it didn't work, so let's insert that. Hello world. Now what if I want to change the color? Now even though, see look, I'm selecting different layers and this color is not changing. And the reason why is because it's over here. This is dictating what that color is. See, right now it's this tealish color. If I hit OK, then it changes. So it doesn't change in real time. Okay, so pay attention to that. Next, if I select hello world and then I change the color, see, this works in real time. Don't understand why, but I'm just letting you know what it do. Okay. So there's that. And text layers work like regular layers, so I can put this on top. Let's just zoom in over here. I can basically bring it to the foreground, or I can push the type layer to the background, right, like that. Type low. Okay. What else can we do with type? We can do lots and lots and lots of things with type. So I showed you how to change the font. So if I double click this, it should activate the text layer. Okay. You can change the font. Okay, so I would say this. If I want to change this half to be a different font, I can. Just simply select it and then change the font. Done. Okay. In order to accept the command, you'll notice, by the way, there's no OK button. So if it doesn't know what to do because there's two fonts in there. There's no OK button on this. None. So just basically select your font, and then I usually press the move tool, and then it accepts it. That's usually what I do in order to get the commandments working. What else can you do? I would say play around and see what you can do in regards to the many fun features that this has to offer. So this bold is very helpful, because sometimes when you're, like this Banks Gothic BT is bold text. Sometimes it actually is inside this family group, but it should be by itself. I think it's going to be by itself. Was it Banker's Gothic? Right here. And Banker's Gothic bold. Okay, so here we go. And it's telling me right here that this one's bold. And it has nothing to do with the bold button, like basically beefing up the text. It has everything to do with the way that the designer designed the font. Okay, so what happens if you're having to type in stats? Let's say you have a character and he's got stats. So you'll notice that as I started typing, I hit enter. Whoops, let's get out of type mode and zoom out a little bit. We'll talk about zoom. We got to talk about zoom as well. I need to make a running list of stuff we need to talk about. Okay, so this is going to be zoom. Okay, parentheses will mean we'll talk about it later. So this, again, this is about type. Tizype. So if I double click it, I have options. I can come here to my left justification. I can do right justification. I can do center justification. I can also come to my paragraph. Whoops, didn't mean to undock that. And I can change it here as well. Now, something else that you can do that I wish like Microsoft Word had is I can come here to this character box, and I can change the distance between the words when I press enter. I can set all that manually. So like, let's say I have a whole bunch of stuff that I have to talk about. I don't know what that was. Right? I hit Control A again, and I can now set this. I can see what the text is doing. So I really like this. There's another thing that you can do too. It's called kerning. So there is distance between the paragraph. Oh, I almost forgot about this too. You can do it in real time. If you hover your mouse over the icon, you can actually change this stuff by clicking and dragging. And that will help you as well instead of having to hit the drop down. Okay, so kerning is over here. Where are you? I believe this is it. Kerning has to do with the space between the letters. And you can change all this manually as well. See that? So you can change this into a convoluted mess if you want to. And there you go. What else? You can stretch the font if you want to really make it wide. You can stretch the whole, all of the Aleph bits, the font itself. Like that letter G is like 4 times as wide as where it was. Let's watch. See? It's different. What else is this? Play around with it. Get familiar with what's going on. Can you change it from bold? Now, there are some characters. There are some characters that have been uploaded correctly. Let's try this agency FB. Yeah, see? It's got regular and bold right there in the drop-down list. That's what that's for. This is a family situation. All right. That's enough for the text. That's the basics, the bare minimum understanding of what you can do with the text. Let's talk about, I guess we could talk about fills. We'll do that in the next video. So we got to talk about zooms and we'll talk about fills. So let's talk about zoom and fill in the next video. Effects fills. Effects fill. Yay! All right, shalom.